I never believed it, love at first sight. But you got a magic boy that I just can't explain. Well, you got a way that you're making me feel I can do anything for you, baby. I'll be down for you, baby. Lay on my castle tonight. Just call on me, baby. I'll be there in a hurry. It's your move, so baby, baby, this time, whatever you want from me, I'm giving you everything. 'Cause I'm your baby tonight. I'm giving you ecstasy, 'cause you are my fantasy. 'Cause I'm your baby tonight. Me, everything. No, I'm your baby. Ecstasy, fantasy. I'm your baby. Forever. You are boy. I'll be your baby. I will be your lady. You are boy. I am your babe. That is the first one. Me, 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 me.
That sounds really good now. I think everything is on pitch.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me is not how it sounds, it's just that like, I know that I'm still in my head voice, sort of, all the
Okay.
time. I don't do any transition.
Yeah.
But does it still sound pretty fat?
I think it sounds pretty fat. I wasn't thinking that you were in a head voice.
Yeah, because I normally do like, me, me, me. But now I did, me. And it sounds like more in line.
Yeah.
Without any
it does.
transition.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it sounds really good. Like in my kind of, if I think in terms of like head voice,
Yeah.
mixed and all of that, and
Yeah.
chest voice, I would call this sort of mix more
Yeah.
than head voice.
But it's funny because
Because it doesn't have that thinness that just pure head voice would have. So whatever it is, you fake it well.
okay, right. It's just like it's A flat.
Yeah.
And I'm so used to that, you know, try to make the transition and try to make it darker.
Yeah.
And everything already in B4 and lower. Now we're A,
Yeah.
but I don't care.
Yeah. It sounds good.
Everything, everything. I think it's pretty much like
It is, yeah, I think it's really good. Everything. I think Whitney has a more the and not so E.
Everything.
Exactly, because now you have a little
Yeah.
more space from the E,
Yeah,
so it doesn't get at all kind of like a small space sounding.
yeah.
So now I thought it was really in line with what she does.
Cool. This is hard, this. I'm your baby. Because I hear that. There's this. Baby.
Now it would be perfect, but the way when you sang it, I think the E shrunk a little too much. And in a couple of places where it looked like you were having, and it sounded and looked like you were having maybe a too small of a space,
Yeah.
it looked like your jaw was kind of wanting to do things.
Yeah.
So maybe do that again and see if you can release the jaw a little bit.
I'm your baby. Baby. Baby.
Yeah, but don't lose this.
But it sounds like the chorus would be baby. If you listen to that one, I don't see anything but.
I think it sounds like the first bay is kind of like bay. It doesn't really go to, it doesn't open up to an A properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I.
So the one, you had a couple that were really on the spot, I think.
But you think that there's still this thing?
It could be a little bit. It's just like when I said release the jaw, you kind of just went, released everything completely.
Yeah.
So don't lose all the activation here, I'd say. I mean, of course, there's one thing is doing exactly every syllable like Whitney does, and one thing is what would sound better. So I think what would sound better now would be for the baby, have cry, but maybe open up a little bit for the higher note, because it can also make it easier for you then to go ahead in the song. Yeah.
Baby.
For me, that has more of like a resonant sound.
Yeah, it is. Because I'm
But the volume doesn't explode, so the volume is really in line because you're
Exactly.
doing a little bit of cry there.
Yeah, because that's what I have been trying to concentrate on, that it doesn't
Yeah.
rise, because it shouldn't rise.
No.
I'm your baby, ecstasy,
That's perfect.
fantasy.
That's the thing with the ecstasy and the fantasy. Like now when you did the first ecstasy, that ta syllable wanted to be a little too closed and a little too kind of swallowed, and then you moved it so that it sounded
Ecstasy.
like it was more, like it was more front.
Yeah.
Ecstasy, like it's all in line, and then
Yeah.
fantasy. So whatever you do on fa, do the same on ta.
But she doesn't do that. She closes fun and then she opens up the ta.
Ah, right.
But it doesn't really matter.
I think you did the opposite. Fantasy.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Fantasy.
Yeah.
But still, I don't hear so much like. It's
Yeah.
more that there's like twang, and it's like kind of like a brighter sound.
Ecstasy, fantasy.
This is totally opinion. I think now you're sort of doing what she's doing, but I think it would sound better if the and the fa were matched.
Yeah, and it would be actually
Rather, it
less
has more-
this kind of a
Puzzle.
level.
Yes, and also for me, this sound that you're making now, it's lacking a little bit of energy, and for her, I still hear that energy there.
Yeah.
And the energy, what we call energy, could be a little bit of twang. So
Yeah.
there's that sound of like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm coming from here, because
Yeah.
it is these ad-libs that are supposed to create energy in the song.
Ecstasy, fantasy.
That's it, I think.
I'm your baby. Ecstasy, fantasy.
Yeah. And now I think all the sounds are really good now. All the sounds you're making are really great. And there's a really good line through everything. But I'm thinking the ecstasy, like, is it that much of a in the lower note?
Volume.
Yeah.
Ecstasy, fantasy. Maybe.
Yeah, let's check it if you want to be precise, because now I'm
Yeah.
hearing that it's a little bit of a like a poof on the lower.
Yeah, nice.
A little bit,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a sort of speechy almost thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to just experiment with
Yeah.
doing less of it. I'm your baby, ecstasy, fantasy. I'm your baby, forever. You are boy. I'll be your baby, I will be your lady.
Yeah. You keep the backspace amazingly, and every time you run into a little bit of a glitch now,
Yeah.
it looks like you lose that space.
Yeah.
So now that you keep it, it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
Like I remember so many times we work with this EE diphthong,
Yeah.
and it's caused a little bit of headache here and there, and
Yeah.
now you're doing it super well on a high note, so that's really fantastic.
I'll be your baby, I'll be your baby, I will be your.
Yeah, that's really good, I think, for the
I'll be your baby, I will be your lady.
done.
Yeah, I need to have a, so there's, it's not B, but B.
Yeah, so
I'll be
already
your
having that.
baby, I will be your lady.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
great.
Yeah. Ooh, you are boy.
Beautiful. Now
Yeah.
I hear a completely steady, like, consistent sound.
Yeah.
So cool. Do it a couple of times, then tell me what you did.
Yeah, I'm thinking more ooh
Yeah.
instead of
You. Yeah.
you, ooh, you.
It still works beautifully.
I'll do the whole part.
Yeah.
One.